Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, on today's episode, it may not look like it, and looks can be deceiving, but it actually rained pretty hard like an hour ago. And then magically, the sun descended from the heavens, and now all this ground is dry. The only reason I'm telling you that is because the plan is to flip that big old tire behind me and to do these stones as well. And it's going to be kind of gross and wet. So I'm not looking forward to that. But that's what I'm going to do in between the bench press today. I'm going to be adding those chains as well. So as I'm going up in weight, I'm also going to be discussing accommodating resistance and some other cool facts that I've learned along the way. At least I think they're cool, but maybe they'll help you with your weightlifting journey. So let's pop into today's workout and I'll show you what I got planned. Alrighty, for today's strength giant set, we're going to be starting off with the bench press, and later I'm going to be adding those chains. And I'm going to be going up in weight. And that's going to be the key to today's workout, is when I add the chains and go up in weight. And in between, as I'm going up in weight on the bench press, I'm going to be doing a stone lift. Mainly just to get my lower back activated, because for some reason my lower back wasn't activating on the bench. So I knew I needed to get that woken up. And I'm going to be doing some tire flips as well, where I just flip that tire just for about 3 reps, just mainly to get my whole body warmed up and to do a fun strongman movement on the way up on the bench press. And then I'm going to be doing some sledgehammer strikes. This is mainly just to kind of warm up my shoulders and to work my obliques at the same time. And it's a great conditioning tool. That's going to be the strength giant set for the day. And like I said, I'm going to be adding those chains as well, which the total amount of weight is going to be 45 pounds total. And why am I adding those chains? I mean, what do they really do? Why don't you just add more weight to the bar? Wouldn't that make much more sense? Well, no. And the reason why is because of the title of this video, which is accommodating resistance, which is pretty much a fancy term for saying it's really heavy at the top of the lift and it gets lighter at the bottom of the lift. And then it gradually gets heavier as you go back up to the top of the lift. That's really the fancy word for accommodating resistance. And I mean, I guess it could be vice versa. You could have it where it's light at the top and then heavier at the bottom. But the reason why most people train with heavy at the top and lighter at the bottom is because most people use either bands or chains when it comes to accommodating resistance. So if you're using bands, its tension is heavy at the top. And then when you get lower, the bands, begin to lose its elastic pull. And then it's a lot lighter on the bottom. Then as you go back up, it starts to stretch again. And then same thing with the chains. And the chains completely decompress it to the ground. Then as you stand back up or press back up, then it's going to be a lot harder at the top. And the reason why that is, and why people use accommodating resistance, is for 3 reasons. The first reason is so that you can actually overload the movement and have a heavier weight at the top of the lift. So whether you're doing the bench press, back squat, deadlift, or overhead press, and you have that weight in the lockout position before you begin the lift, then it's actually heavier starting at that point. And the second reason people like to use accommodating resistance is because the movement gets a lot harder and people often miss the lift in the middle of the lift. So for example, for the bench press today, this is what I'm doing it on, as the weight goes up, a lot of times it gets to the middle and it switches over from the chest to the triceps. And during that transition is where a lot of people get stuck, and you'll see them grind in the middle, which, spoiler alert, that happens to me at the top of my lift today. And then it ends up going back down. So with the chains, you're actually able to push through the middle a lot faster and build a little bit momentum. And the third reason people like to use accommodating resistance is because it kind of gives their central nervous system a break. If you're doing bench press every single week, eventually you're just going to start tapping out, and your central nervous system and your spinal erectors are just going to give out, and you're not going to be able to lift the weight anymore. It's just physics, man. You're not going to be able to change that. But you can change that with accommodating resistance. Because if you do bench press 1 week, and then you add the chains to your bench press the next week, and you just keep switching it back and forth, then you'll be able to lift heavier more frequently, and you'll be able to get stronger at the same time that carry over into each other's lifts. Really, accommodating resistance is a great method if you want to get strong all around and to have more fun in the gym, which I guess that'd be the 4th reason, is you're just having fun. It's cool to load up bands and chains and look cool in the gym, right? I mean, people don't know what you're doing, and you have to explain it to them. And if you just repeat everything I just said right now, you're going to sound like the smartest dude in the gym. Congratulations. And now personally, I like to use chains over bands because over time, bands lose their elasticity, and I really can't gauge how much weight I'm adding at the top of the lift anyways with a band. With the chains, the weight always stays the same. So now I'm able to know exactly what the weight is at the bottom of the lift and all the way to the top of the lift. Now I apologize for the angle of this video. I thought it would be kind of cool to try to capture everything I'm doing in one shot, but I understand you really can't see the bench press very well. So as I'm coming up to my top set right here, I'm going to change the angle so you'll be able to see exactly how accommodating resistance works with the chains. This is probably the perfect example right here of how those chains work, is you're going to see that when I descend and then bring it back up, look how slow that weight starts to move. And that's what you kind of want to see when you're doing accommodating resistance. Now against my better judgment, I actually tried to go for 380 pounds. So that's going to be 340 pounds at the bottom and 380 at the top. But even with all my best effort and my maximal grunting, I wasn't able to get it done. And again, you can see those safety catches saved my life once again. So thank you to those safety catches. Now for the variation giant set, I was doing 3 rounds and I was doing my favorite movement when it comes to the chains bench press, and I want to add a second bench press movement, which is going to be the incline bench press. Since my triceps took a lot of work from those chains, locking it out on the top, I really want to finish off my chest, and the incline bench press hits my chest in a different way. And I stayed in the same format. I didn't do the stone, but I was doing the tire flips still. And I was also doing those sledgehammer strikes. I really enjoy doing strongman movements, so I'm always going to do strongman movements anytime I can do them as I'm going up in weight. Now, I don't know what happened here. I was incline benching. I thought I had the safety guards in the right spot, and for some reason, they just kept hitting those safety guards over and over again. So I ended up having to work a little harder on my second round here and trying to adjust to make sure that I'm doing it safely and getting the right movement, because I wanted to hit 275 today since I didn't hit that 380 pound total bench press. So I adjusted the safety guards a little bit and I got my mind a little bit more serious, and I did 275 pounds and I actually did it for 5 reps, and I felt like that was a really good way to finish off my chest and to target it a little bit better. Since that incline bench is only 1 click up from a flat bench press, I'm able to use the same mechanics I would in a flat bench press, but I'm not able to do as much weight since I'm at that incline angle. And I'm able to hit my upper chest a little bit more. So I really like doing the incline bench press on the chains bench press day specifically for these reasons. Kind of got carried away on the weight today because I tried it and I did miss it. I went a little heavier on the incline bench and was able to actually hit a pretty decent number today for reps. So very pleased with that. And now it's the end of the month and I kind of have a bunch of numbers that I need to make sure that I hit before the month is over in order to accumulate a healthy total. So let's go ahead and jump into the assistance and accessory giant set. I was doing 3 rounds and I was really excited for this actually. This is what I woke up and was really excited to do this morning. I was going to start with some kettlebells and I'm going to do some farmer walks. And then I'm going to just immediately drop down and I'm going to bust out push-ups. And this is just mainly to finish off my chest because my chest was absolutely exhausted from all that bench work I had done already since I went a lot heavier than planned. So I only needed to do about 10 repetitions, and then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to walk those kettlebells back. So this is getting my strongman movements in, finishing off the chest that I just worked out with the bench press, and I'm also getting a lot of conditioning with this. So this is what I was really excited to do. So now I do have heavier kettlebells. So this is 176 pounds in each hand for 350 pounds total. And this is going to be my second round. And lifting heavy with these kettlebells is a lot harder than a trap bar. I've been doing like bench press and trap bar farmer carries in the gym that you've seen me film on in the past. But using these kettlebells is a lot harder because first of all, just to get them off the ground, it's extremely awkward and weird. And you kind of have to play around with it before you get good at it. And the second reason is once they're up in the air and you're carrying it, they move like crazy and they're fat bottomed. So they're hitting your leg, they're swaying behind you, they're swaying in front of you. It wants to go back to the ground. It wants to do all sorts of things that defy gravity. Now this is my top set. So this is going to be 203 pounds in each hand for 406 pounds total. And it's been a while since I've been lifting these particular kettlebells. So it was really good to dust the cobwebs off and to use them again. But in doing so, I actually realized just how spoiled I was using that trap bar, because the trap bar is a little bit more fixed and you can get in better footing positions. Here you have to take a much more narrow stance, and as it goes up, it really bangs into your legs there. So it's a lot easier to do with a trap bar. But this was very good and very exciting for me. And for the last round, I actually did 10 more reps just because I was feeling good and I really wanted to burn off my chest at the very end. that was the assistance portion. So for the accessory portion, I was doing 3 rounds, and I started off with some horizontal tricep extensions to finish off my triceps. And then I did some, mainly of a chest pump. I just wanted to do a very light band and just try to get that movement in and make sure the tendons are getting enough blood after all that chest work. And then I ended with face pulls, of course, that you can see was done with all the bands. And that was the total workout for the day. Alrighty, so it's still a beautiful day, and I hope you all enjoyed watching me almost die, but having an effective workout. I'll see you next time. Thank you.